guys, it's Victoria, and today I'm here with my November TBR. I'm very excited for November because it is Nonfiction November, which when I heard about it, I knew I had to participate. I'm really bad at reading nonfiction on a regular basis, but I'm always so happy when I do. So I'm really hoping that this Nonfiction November event gives me a little more impetus, if you will, into continuing to make it a habit of reading my nonfiction books, because I love nonfiction when I read it, but I just forget about it. I don't know, I also love fiction. And I think most of us tend to go either one way or the other with the amount that we are reading, if we're reading mostly fiction or mostly nonfiction. So I happen to be a person that reads mostly fiction, but really would like to be a more balanced nonfiction to fiction ratio reader. That being said, I do have a couple fiction books that I'm hoping to get to in the month of November, so I'm actually going to start with those. The first one of those being the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Society, and I always have such a hard time saying this title of this book, and it is by Mary Ann Schaefer and Annie Barrows. This I am solely picking up because it's a book club pick for, my church has a book club, and so I would like to participate in it. I participated in their last book that they did, so they kind of hooked me into the next one too. And this one is one that I am actually genuinely interested in and would like to pick up. So I got myself a copy and I'm looking forward to diving in. This is a historical fiction book. I believe it follows a writer named Juliet Ashton. Yes, Juliet Ashton, and it's told in the series of letters. I believe she somehow becomes a pen pal with a man who's living on the island of Guernsey in the Channel Islands, and they become friends. I'm not exactly sure how they become pen pals, but they become pen pals, and then she learns about this club that they have, and she learns about the island of Guernsey and how World War II has impacted them. I believe this is set kind of on the tail end of World War II or post World War II a little bit, and kind of dealing with the aftermath of everything. I think it's a fascinating period of history, although I know sometimes it feels like there's an overwhelming amount of fiction regarding World War II, but I've heard it's a good one. There's a Netflix book, or not a Netflix book, there's a Netflix movie. I think it's a movie, not a TV show. I don't know. And I would like to watch that after I finish reading this, so there you go. The second fiction book that I would like to finish is a rollover from last month. I didn't quite finish this, although I started it, and that's Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. This is a continuation of the Infernal Devices series by her. It is book 2. It's a really popular one. You may not even need me to go into the details on this one, but it's kind of steampunky, set in the Victorian era, and it's a fun, silly, if you will, fantasy, and more like fantasy slash romance. This one's starting to feel a little more romancy. I'm not very far in. I'm only like, I don't know, 60, 70 pages in, but even though, I mean, I know they're not the best books in the world, but I'm having fun reading them, so I don't know what that says about me, but here we go. We gotta finish the series. We just gotta do it. And now for the part that I'm most excited about, which is Nonfiction November. I did have a few books that I thought fit the challenges for Nonfiction November. If you don't know about the challenges, I'll link Book Olive's video down below so you can check out the challenges and get a feel for what Nonfiction November is all about. Olive had a great idea of having a very open-ended kind of general challenge based on 4 words, and she even has different types of ways you can interpret that word. So the first challenge is pastime or /pastime, and for that one I decided to do pastime as in like a hobby or something that you would use to pass the time. And for that one, I'm applying it to Musicophilia by Oliver Sacks. And this is a book that has been on my radar for quite some time. I bought it a few months ago, found a used copy of it, a nice hardcover too. And this is about kind of the science of music and listening and its role in our lives, its role in culture and society. I'm a music fan myself, and I'm a musician as not only a hobby but also as a profession. So I'm very excited to read this, especially because I think it's a little more on the sciencey side and on like the neurological side too. So I'm looking forward to learning about that. The second challenge is self or shelf. For this one, I decided to go with shelf, and I don't want to overwhelm myself with too many long books because I know that the month of November will be busy for me. So I'm going with a super short book, maybe cheating a little bit, but there is no rules of how long your book had to be, so I'm going to go with this one, Weird Things Customers Say in Bookshops by Jen Campbell. And I found this very recently in a used bookstore, and I was shocked that I found it. Couldn't believe it. And I read maybe the first quarter of it already, but haven't read the whole thing. It's gonna take me like, I don't know, an hour probably, but hey, we're gonna count it. It's nonfiction, and maybe you wish it was fiction because people say really dumb things, and nope, that's nonfiction. That's real life people talking. So I'm very excited to delve into this one. So for this one, I used shelf, obviously, because it takes place in a bookshop. The third challenge that Olive posed was the words wander or wonder. I went with wander, and maybe I'm stretching this one a little bit, but I'm using You're Never Weird on the Internet by Felicia Day. In this book, we're following Felicia Day as she figures out her life into adulthood and some of the struggles she's gone through. So I decided to apply wander to that because I think there's a certain amount of, you know, self-discovery and wandering through your life that could be applied to this book. So I can't wait to read this one. Very excited about it. Of course, I'm always excited about everything that I read. Duh. And finally, for challenge number 4, it is the words macro and micro. For this one, I decided to go with Everybody Lies, Big Data, New Data, and What the Internet Can Tell Us About Who We Really Are by Seth Stevens Davidowitz. I probably did not pronounce that right, but brownie points for trying. I went with micro and macro for this one because I felt like big lies, little lies, everybody tells lies in some way, maybe in a macro form or a micro form. I don't know. Again, maybe a stretch, but I think it works. Yeah, I think it works. So this sounds really interesting, using data from the internet and kind of, I think, search engines even, and figuring out what people lie about. And also it's about how the internet makes it really hard for us to lie. It actually makes it both harder for some people to lie and also makes it easier for us to lie. So sounds interesting. I bought it on a whim, don't know a whole lot about it, but it's also, I didn't realize that I bought a large print version, so. And there you have it. That is my Nonfiction November TBR combined with some fiction, just a little bit of fiction. So I'm excited to read more nonfiction than usual, and hopefully I stumble upon some good books, and hopefully I finish all these. I haven't had a great track record the last couple months. I've been reading on average 3 books, 2-3 books a month, and what is this, like 6 books? Probably way too ambitious for me this month, but I do have a week off for Thanksgiving, so maybe I can cram a bunch of reading into my week off. Let me know if you're participating in Nonfiction November. If so, what is your TBR? Or let me know if you made a TBR video, and I'll go ahead and jump over to your channel and check it out. I hope you're having a great day or a week or a month wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.